Welcome to Mystery Chronicles, where we dive deep into some of the most intriguing and mysterious stories from around the world. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
The transition from one year to the next is a time of hope. Families gather. They reflect on the past and look to the future. In Tokyo, on the cusp of the new millennium, this tradition was shattered for one family. On the night of December 30th, 2000, in the quiet residential district of Setagaya, a brutal crime occurred. An entire family, Mikio Miyazawa, his wife Yasuko, their two young children, Niina Rei, were murdered in their own home. The act was senseless. It was violent. It left a nation in shock and searching for answers that, even today, remain just out of reach. The case has become one of Japan's most infamous unsolved mysteries. This case is not just a collection of facts. It is a story of profound loss. It is also a story about the limits of investigation. The questions raised on that cold December night in 2000 still demand answers. To understand the crime, we must first establish a timeline. Events on December 30th, 2000 began like any other day for the Miyazawa family. Mikio, aged 44, Yasuko, aged 41, Niina, aged 8, were out for the day. Their son, 6-year-old Rei, remained at home. In the late afternoon, the family's life followed a normal rhythm. They were preparing for the New Year's holiday. Neighbors reported seeing them. The family returned home in the evening. Computer records show Mikio used his computer at approximately 10:38 p.m. Shortly after this, Yasuko's mother called the home. She spoke with Yasuko. The call ended around 10:50 p.m. This confirms the family was alive and well just before 11 p.m. What happened next is a matter of intense police investigation. Entry was not forced in a conventional way. The intruder came through a small, unlocked bathroom window on the second floor. The window opened onto a park, providing cover. This suggests agility and possibly prior knowledge of the house. Once inside, a horrific sequence of attacks began. The first victim, 6-year-old Rei, sleeping in his bed. He was strangled. The rest of the family were attacked with a knife. Mikio was found on the stairs to the third-floor loft. Yasuko and Niina were found together in the loft bedroom, huddled. They suffered fatal stab wounds. When investigators entered the Miyazawa home on the morning of December 31st, they were confronted with a scene of chaos and brutality. The discovery was made by Yasuko's mother. She had been unable to reach the family by phone. She had used her spare key to enter the home, only to see the unimaginable horror within. The police were called immediately. The house was sealed off. What they found was not just the site of a quadruple murder, but a bizarre and disturbing puzzle. A diagram showing the layout of the Miyazawa family home indicated points of entry and locations of the victims. The killer had not simply fled after the crime. He had stayed in the house for an extended period, for several hours. The murders themselves were frenzied and violent. The killer used a sashimi knife. The initial attack was so forceful that the knife broke. He then used another knife from the family's own kitchen. The body of Mikio Miyazawa showed defensive wounds, indicating he had fought fiercely for his family. The sheer number of stab wounds upon Yasuko and Niina pointed to overkill. Yet, after this explosion of violence, the killer's behavior became strangely calm and methodical. Evidence showed that he used the family's computer. He accessed the internet around 1:18 a.m. and again around 10 a.m. on December 31st. He even tried to book theater tickets. He opened the refrigerator and consumed some ice cream. He ate melon. He drank barley tea and left the empty containers out. The killer also appeared to have tended to his own injuries. He left behind blood-stained towels and bandages. Finally, before leaving, the killer left behind personal items and took very little of value. Some cash was missing, but not a large amount. It seemed more like a disorganized search than a professional robbery, an audacious and deeply disordered profile that raised more questions than answers. The killer's bizarre actions inside the Miyazawa home resulted in a treasure trove of forensic evidence. While he may have felt comfortable lingering at the scene, he was far from a professional. He left behind numerous items that did not belong to the family. These items became the cornerstones of the investigation. One of the most significant pieces of evidence was the clothing the killer left at the scene. A black bucket hat, a muffler, a hip bag, and a black Uniqlo fleece jacket. He had apparently changed into clothes belonging to Mikio Miyazawa before leaving. Inside the hip bag, investigators found sand. Forensic analysis revealed elements specific to only a few locations. Edwards Air Force Base, a specific area of the Mojave Desert, California. This suggested the killer might have connections to the United States or had traveled there, opening an international dimension to the investigation. The hip bag itself was sold in limited quantities in Kanagawa Prefecture. The killer also left behind his DNA in multiple locations. Blood from his injury was found throughout the house. This allowed police to develop a full DNA profile. Analysis indicated the killer was male. Mitochondrial DNA suggested maternal lineage common in European populations near the Mediterranean or Adriatic. Y chromosome analysis showed a haplogroup common in East Asian populations, including Japanese and Koreans. This mixed ancestry profile was extremely rare in Japan. The intruder left clear shoe prints from Slazenger sneakers, size 27.5 centimeters, about a US 9.5, manufactured and sold primarily in South Korea. Very few were sold in Japan. Korean-made shoes, sand from California, European maternal DNA, Asian paternal DNA, together painting a complex international portrait unlike any seen before. While the physical evidence from inside the house was substantial, investigators also worked to find traces of the killer outside the home. The Miyazawa residence was located near a park and several public roads, offering the possibility that someone had been captured on camera. Police painstakingly reviewed hours of footage, focusing on the periods before and after the murders. Their search yielded a few grainy but potentially significant images of a man in the vicinity. One widely circulated image from a nearby train station shows a man wearing clothing similar to the suspect, walking with a distinct posture. Other cameras caught glimpses fitting the general description, but not enough for identification. Based on evidence and partial sightings, police created composite sketches, updated as techniques improved. The most recent versions depict a young man, estimated 15 to 35 at the time, medium height, slim build, consistent with entry through the small bathroom window. He has a slender face, thin lips, and a sharp nose. These images have been displayed across Japan, in train stations, police boxes, and public buildings. The hope is that someone will recognize the face. Despite thousands of tips and countless interviews, no definitive ID or DNA match has been made. The man in the shadows remains an enigma, a ghost who left a wealth of evidence yet kept his identity secret. A frustrating paradox for law enforcement. In the wake of the horrific discovery, the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department launched one of the largest and most expensive investigations in Japanese history. A special task force was immediately assembled at the Seijo police station, with hundreds of officers at its peak. They canvassed the neighborhood, interviewed potential witnesses, and meticulously processed vast evidence. The brutality and bizarre behavior resonated across Japan and the world. The police received an unprecedented number of tips, more than 16,000 pieces of information. Each tip had to be logged, assessed, and followed up. Police kept the case in public view with a dedicated website featuring composite sketches, evidence photos, and DNA data. Regular press conferences and a substantial reward, 20 million yen, were announced, funded by police and citizens. As technology advanced, samples were retested and sketches' age progressed. Despite tireless efforts, the case remains unsolved. Investigators remain resolute, even as time erodes memories and leads grow cold. Section 7. Theory 1. The random intruder. One persistent theory is that the killer was a random intruder with no prior connection. He may have been a drifter, a burglar, or someone transient in the area that night. The house's location next to a park made it an easy target. An intruder could observe from cover, notice the small window, and break in on impulse. The disorganized search, with little of value taken, suggests opportunism over professionalism. The extreme violence could be a panicked reaction. His injury during the struggle with Mikio points to lack of skill. The items left behind, mass-produced clothing, a hip bag, sneakers, do not indicate a specific personal motive. Yet, why would a random burglar stay up to 10 hours, using the computer, eating food, risking capture? Why this house among many? The choice hints at pre-selection, blurring random and deliberate. Compelling but incomplete, this theory leaves crucial behavior unexplained. Section 8. Theory 2. A targeted attack born from a grudge. The killer may have specifically targeted Mikio or his family due to a pre-existing conflict. Entry through a specific window could suggest prior knowledge. A targeted attacker might have staked out the residence. The overkill, especially against Mikio who fought back, could reflect personal rage. Investigators explored potential sources: a London-based consultancy, Yasuko's tutoring. Staying for hours, using their computer, eating their food, resting on their sofa, could symbolize dominance, a ritual of hatred. Police examined minor disputes, like loud skateboarders in the adjacent park. Despite efforts, no credible motive or enemy was identified. The Miyazawas were well-liked. Extensive checks revealed no conflicts to explain such violence. Without a clear link, this theory fits some facts, but lacks the crucial connection to a real-world grudge. Section 9. Theory 3. The killer from the neighborhood. The perpetrator may have been a local or someone intimately familiar with the area. Knowledge of routines, streets, parks, and the home's vulnerabilities could enable entry and escape without notice. The Miyazawa house sat beside Setagaya Park, a key element a local would exploit. Clothing was accessible in region. The hip bag was sold in nearby Kanagawa. This suggests a short operational range. A reclusive local might evade recognition in public life. The long stay could reflect a distorted sense of reality, yet police canvassed extensively, interviewed thousands, and requested DNA samples. If local, some clue or match might have surfaced by now. International elements complicate a strictly local profile, creating contradictions investigators struggle to resolve. Section 10. Conclusion: a case. Frozen in time, a plea that never fades today. On April 3, 2026, more than 25 years have passed since the Miyazawa family was taken from the world. The case remains open and active, with a dedicated team following new tips and re-examining old evidence. The file is thick with evidence, reports, and dead ends. Who is the man with the rare mixed ancestry DNA? Why did he choose the Miyazawa family? Was it random or deeply personal? How could someone who stayed up to 10 hours, leaving DNA, clothes, and fingerprints, completely disappear? The killer is now likely in his 40s or 50s, living a life denied to his 4 victims. This case testifies to enduring grief and the human need for justice. The surviving relatives, particularly Yasuko's mother, have waited a quarter century. It reminds us that behind every unsolved crime are real people. It is our responsibility to remember them. The theories frame the crime, but none resolve all contradictions. We hope a new lead, a breakthrough, or a simple act of courage will bring justice for Mikio, Yasuko, Nina, and Rei.
Thank you for watching Mystery Chronicles. Please like, comment, and subscribe.